react. They have the option of making the cash available because the cash crunch is still taking effect elsewhere. Yesterday in Lagos, in one of the offices, the woman who operates a restaurant there was forced to end the day after the cooking gas finished, and he couldn't summon retrieve cash to go and refill. So citizens still feeling the problems, but NLC waking up. Perhaps under a new leadership, Joe Ajero is the new NLC chairman, and he appears to be president, and he appears to be coming up with fire we actually didn't see in the last few years. On this program also, we'll be taking you into the basis of the petition filed against the victor of Bola Tinubu of the APC. Very funny and interesting basis that the two parties, the PDP and Labour Party, are insisting that the tribunal should annul the election. My colleagues are here. We have Teve Tiaf and we also have Abolo Semwagu. Welcome to the program.
Amechi, good morning. And good morning, dear listener. Congratulations to Labour Party, the national chairman, Abure, and the candidate of the presidential candidate, Peter Obi. Some people will tell you that Alex Otti rode on the popularity of Peter Obi to get to where he is today. And for the listener, Alex Otti left banking sector in 2014, and in 2015 he contested as governor of Abia State under the banner of APGA. And that election, the appeal court gave it to him, and but the Supreme Court turned it in favor of, ruled in favor of Okezie Ikpeazu in 2015. And Alex Otti tried again in 2019, and until now, he got his luck. Congratulations to him and his supporters. Amici, that's what we keep saying. If you see the celebrations across Abia State, you know that is a man the people wanted. But that is not the same in some states across Nigeria.
And the governor Okezie Ikpeazu was quick to congratulate him.
Exactly.
And like you said, the jubilant citizens tells you that indeed it may have reflected the wishes of
the people. Yes, that is what we didn't see in most states, and it's not good for the democracy. If you say democracy is government of the people, for the people, and by the people, we should be able to see the people celebrating when their voices are heard.
In some places, it's protest. Even Nasarawa PDP members took their protest to Abuja opposite INEC office yesterday. In Kano, it's been protest. Was it yesterday that APC marched in their thousands protesting against the results? And then NPP that was declared winner, saying we are marching today. So in some states, tensions high, very high.
Yeah, we want to commend Professor Nena, the returning officer in Abia State, and also INEC itself, because Amici, I must tell you, probably they received some security reports. Because we saw protests in the INEC headquarters by some people in the southeast, and we saw protests in Abia State and Enugu State over the delay in declaring the winner. But going forward, Alex Otti, one of us, is a columnist, with This Day newspaper. He has been writing there, and we congratulate one of us. He's an editor.
Does that make him a journalist, a columnist?
Well, Adamu is the columnist that is heading education. And what story do we have to tell about our education sector?
Are they members of the NUJ? Are they members
Board of Editors Guild.
Yes.
So going forward, and
Femi is shaking his head. If you don't agree with us, no. Let's hear your point of disagreement.
Good morning, Ameji. Clearly, not all columnists are members of the editorial board or members of
Guild of
the
Editors.
Nigerian Guild of Editors. And in this case, I can't recall Alex Otti as a member of any of the editorial boards.
So he may not be described as a journalist.
He's
maybe a public affairs commentator.
That's the best to put him.
So going forward, we see that the win by Alex Otti has divided the southeast, as you rightly said, Amici. Now the former bride, the PDP, is now having a slim margin to win Enugu State, and APC with 2 states, APGA with 1 state, and I must tell you that is the most divided region, political sharing, that we have governorship now as we have in Nigeria, because if you go to the northwest, you have APC and NNPP and PDP. If you go to northeast, you have PDP and APC mingled. You go to the southwest, you have 2 states of PDP and others are APC states. So the southeast is the smallest and is the most divided. So going forward,
is it division or
most
reflection
shared,
of
most
different
shared.
political belief?
Most shared politically the governorship
Political beliefs and
seats.
standing. Tell me, the situation in Zamfara is quite interesting. Shinkafi was deputy governor to former governor, the man that introduced Sharia in Zamfara. What was his name?
Sani Yerima.
Sani Yerima. He won the election as governor under AMPP. He felt they would take the party structure. That was when structure was it's all about structure then. He moved over to the PDP and recontested. He lost. Now, Governor Matawale contested under PDP. APC was stopped from providing a candidates because of no primaries. He won, and after he won, he swore that he will never leave PDP. He said, may God punish him if he leaves PDP. At some point, he changed his mind. Perhaps the people didn't forgive him, and God didn't forgive him. So he went over to APC and lost. So in Zamfara, if you win the mandate and defect, the people and God may likely punish you.
Amechi, good morning to you. Good morning, listener. So it seems, but one factor you can't take away from the Zamfara politics is the former National Security Advisor, General Aliyu Gusau. He's a strong factor in Zamfara politics.
And his son was the deputy governor to Matawale.
And
he refused to the camp.
And he was impeached, eventually. So it was almost clear that was going to happen. If not, 2 former governors, Yari and who again? Supported Yerima.
And also the strong Senator
Marafa. Supported
Matawale.
But eventually, it did not work out for him. So clearly, the people, I want to say, to a very large extent, you need to also look at the margin of win. In most of these places, you see how it was a hard-fought, very close. As it was. So clearly, that is what it is. Most times, you get to a point where, it happens. It may be a coincidence to say God and the people will punish.
No, I brought him God because that was the oath publicly.
Yeah, clearly.
He was the one that brought in God.
It's the same thing with almost, what's his name now, Peter Obi. They say he saw that he was not going to leave APGA, and all of that.
Yeah, when he was a governor. And he left APGA.
After that. So we've seen...
So do we say that
there's power in the tongue. Clearly, that's one thing you cannot rule away. There's power in the tongue. We will say it. Maybe you've forgotten or other things have taken, but it will eventually come to pass, as it were. And talking about the margin of win or victory, the issue in Enugu State is very striking. In fact, it was an issue of concern for some of us when the results were being declared yesterday. We were not expecting that a return would be made, but the return was eventually made going by the wisdom of the returning officer, as it were.
Who said the result was handed over to him by INEC chairman?
And what he was directed to. Because, here is an election where the winner had 160,895 votes and the runners-up had 157,552 votes. The difference is 3,343 votes. The votes that were voided, that were cancelled, were about 9,088. That was it.
Across the state.
Across the state. So it means if, the difference is 3,000 and the votes that were voided were 9,088.
And the margin of lead?
The margin of lead is 3,000 something.
And what does the law say about margin of lead?
Clearly, once the margin of lead, the voided votes are higher than the margin of lead, it's inconclusive.
So it's not just only in Enugu State. In Ogun State, the margin of lead It's so
It's so,
small.
you know, so-
just a few thousands. So when INEC was doing inconclusive election, we were criticizing them. Now, like we said yesterday while we were in the newsroom, you brought it up at TV. Politicians now are insisting that INEC must make
it
election
conclusive, you know, so that they get
a second chance.
you know. So in this matter, I hope that Labour Party would take
Go
it
to
up,
court.
you know, go to court, and
PDP will be telling them go to court.
yeah,
go
but
to court.
clearly, you know. So let's see what, you know, this particular this will be.
One thing,
No, I mean,
we'll
quickly,
see.
before
Yes.
the void, we need to know the status of the void votes.
Cancel.
Cancel.
Is it cancelled
Cancel
or void?
or void? So we need to know the
Void
status
is
of those
when
votes.
you don't vote appropriately.
Yeah, yeah.
As your thumb printing, it crosses the
Exactly.
line to the
So
extent
that
that
is-
you can't make a call as to whether it's for
Good.
this
But if you
party.
say election did not hold in a particular unit,
But I think Teve is talking about cancel
These are cancelled votes
because of violence, overvoting,
you know,
or something like that.
You know,
It's clear in the Electoral
it's clear.
Act. Section 50, 60, subsection 1 and 2. I know it's clearly
It's clear. So,
represented there.
but we'll see what the tribunal will say about
One
this.
thing is that there will be several petitions, especially from these states that were very close. The likelihood of turning of that election is higher. So the tribunals will get very busy. And let's talk about the tribunal. 4 cases in the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, that's the appeal court. P2B raised and Labour Party several grounds upon which the victory of the APC Bola Tinubu, who by the way is off to Paris, is off to London to rest. From Paris, he moved to London. From London, he will go to Mecca for Lesser Hajj. People are saying, rest, the matter never starts, you're resting. But it was a grueling campaign. There's nobody that will go through such that will not want to rest. Even some people are saying you should rest in Nigeria. There's so many.
You can't rest. The truth is, you can't rest there. They will always disturb your peace. So if those who can
You
afford
switch off your phone and ask the gate man. Tell them say Oga no there, and that's the end.
I know House of Rep members elect who have abandoned their constituencies to Abuja, senators elect who are looking for where to go and
Maybe they made promises they couldn't fulfill. They say who comes to equity comes with clean house. The defense house in Abuja, where the president-elect, which is the official residence of the president-elect, and I know Bola Tinubu moved into that. It's well secured. If you're not wanted, there's no way you'll be allowed to go in. But that's by the way. Or you want to drop in something?
No, I say as president-elect, he's entitled to security briefing and several of those things which are important at this period of transition. I don't know how long he intends to rest, but we're barely 60-something days to inauguration. It should be something of concern.
Let him go and recharge.
but we understand he's going to be talking about the transition while away.
Yes.
So some of the things we expect him to deliberate with his key officials that he traveled with is the issue of ministerial appointments and other appointments. So if he goes there to rest, my professor then, the professor in Ghana, used to say that there is no complete holiday for you as an intellectual or as a worker, because as you change environment, you are trying to get new things into your head and new ideas.
Absolutely.
Working
Some
forward.
would say God worked for 6 days and on the 7th day he rested. Now, the basis for the challenge of the victory of the APC, one surprising thing that P2B brought in was the issue of indictment for drug-related offenses in the state of in Illinois in the United States. Analysts have said the Labour Party judicial legal team may subpoena U.S. government officials to come and present evidence, or maybe backed by documents to prove their case that Bola Tinubu was indicted, that he paid over $400,000 in fine and all that, and whether it's not a violation of the laws of the country that once you're indicted in such a manner, you're not qualified to contest. So a lot of fireworks we expect to see. But from the PDP, Tinubu brought something quite interesting. Article of the PDP brought something quite interesting. The transfer of Engineer Chudi Nwafo, the director in charge of ICT department in INEC, is at the basis, the heart of his petition. He says, and he alleges that the transfer was a plan to bring in another person with a view to using the server and, of course, the IRF to manipulate the election. He said Mr. Suleiman Farouk, who is an IT consultant, was brought in after Mr. Chudi Nwafo was transferred to Enugu, and that what Suleiman Farouk, the allegations were emphasized, did was to indeed manipulate the software. He told the court that DNS was the software that allowed INEC's IT security consultant, Mr. Farouk, to using remote control, monitor and filter data transmitted from BVAS devices to the electronic collation system and the IRF platform. The petition by the PDP said that they will, during the hearing of the petition, lead evidence to show that the technical glitches that INEC claimed prevented the upload and transmission of the polling unit results and the accreditation of data of the presidential election to the electronic collation system, and of course that was something that was premeditated. They alleged that what happened was not adherent to the processes in such a way that the system was pre-programmed to serve as create an avenue where this manipulation, third party, they call it third party window for manipulation. The argument is that there was no failure of the servers claimed by INEC. The PDP is saying that they would indeed show evidence that the server, being cloud-based, in the event of any unlikely challenge, Amazon Web Service would have switched to another server without hitch. And of course, if that had happened, as INEC claimed, there was a ready-made solution. In short, what they are saying is that the transfer of Chidi Nwafo and the glitch that they claim happened was the plot to manipulate elections.
Clearly, whoever alleges before a law court must prove, and there are no proof. Assad, yeah, he will definitely. The good thing is Atiku is not new to server issues. In 2019, in 2019, he spoke about server until the Supreme Court told him what they did. So we'll wait to see how that will pan out.
INEC said there was no server.
No server, yes.
And the Supreme Court says it's because
INEC said there's no server.
Now there's a server.
So we'll see how that will eventually turn out. But Amechi, to take care of this, moving forward, I think INEC, and even if it means the...
And you raised it before the election.
You raised it. There must be party agents at the back end. Even what happened in Abia State, what happened in Enugu State, where they said they reviewed, and based on what they saw at the back end, there was no party person there. Anybody can possibly put up anything.
And manipulate
anything. You know, so there must be party agents at the back end to monitor and also, you know, be satisfied that, look, these things are being done the way they should be done. If not, we'll continue to have, you know, allegations like this moving forward, and it won't be good for our democracy. And again, it will now be putting, you know, a dent on the use of electronic devices in our electoral process.
So going forward, no matter the outcome of this judicial challenge, and like we have also said, not just with INEC, which is a regulatory body, it regulates our political parties and electoral system. All the other regulators in the different sectors, you must give an opportunity for the operators to be part of the decision making for their own input and to see that there is transparency. If, for instance, NCC, National Communication Commission, is auctioning some licenses, is it Spectrum, is it G5 license, they should 5G. Be part of the board so they know the process, they know the bidding process that is most transparent. And this is our takeaway and our advice to the Nigerian government to see to this, at least to make up
and the review of the Electoral Act.
Absolutely. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll take your news and more reports. Stay with us.